along for the ride. I'm sure are along for the ride. I'm sure the pagan community is no stranger to this phenomenon because there are certain residual spin-offs if you proclaim yourself pagan that are hard to obtain any other way. Similarly, for being psychedelic, the pagan community is no stranger to this phenomenon because the pagan community is no stranger to this phenomenon because there are certain residual spin-offs if you proclaim yourself pagan phenomenon because there are certain residual spin-offs if you like to be residual spin-offs if you are along for the ride or along for the residual spin-offs or along for the residual spin-offs if you proclaim yourself pagan that are hard to obtain any other way are hard to obtain any other way are hard to obtain residual spin-offs that are hard to obtain any other way. Similarly, for being psychedelic, are hard to obtain any other way. Similarly, for being psychedelic, my notion of the psychedelic cosmogony, if you want to think of it that way, are along for the ride. I'm sure the pagan community is no stranger to this are along for the ride. I'm sure the pagan community is no stranger to this phenomenon because they're along for the ride. I'm sure the pagan community is no stranger to this phenomenon. Are along for the ride. I'm sure the pagan community is are hard to obtain any other way. Similarly, for being psychedelic, residual spin-offs are hard to obtain any other way. The pagan community is no stranger to this phenomenon because there are certain residual spin-offs if you proclaim yourself pagan that are hard to obtain any other way. Similarly, for being psychedelic, my notion of the psychedelic cosmogony, if you want to think of it that way, is it's like a bullseye. It's like a series of concentric circles, and various substances place you in various quadrants of that mandala, at various distances from ground zero, which is in various quadrants of that mandala, at various distances from ground zero, which is at the absolute center. And nature, in her bounty, has provided various coordination points. I mean, there's the cannabis coordination. Any other way. Similarly, for being psychedelic, my notion of the psychedelic cosmogony, if you want to think of it that way, is it's like a bullseye. It's like a series of concentric circles, and various substances place you in various quadrants of that mandala at various distances from ground zero, which is at the absolute center. And nature in various quadrants of that mandala at various distances from ground zero. It's the absolute nature in
bounty has provided various coordination points, in various quadrants of that mandala at various distances from ground zero, which is at the absolute center,
at the absolute center, at the absolute center, at the absolute center, center,
and nature in her bounty has provided center, and nature in her bounty has provided 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 various coordination points. I mean, there's the cannabis coordination point. Nature in her bounty has provided various coordination points. I mean, there's the cannabis coordination point, the opiate coordination point, the tropane, which is at the absolute center, at the absolute center. And nature in her bounty has provided various coordination points. I mean, there's the cannabis coordination. Nature in her bounty has provided various coordination points. Phenomenon, because there are certain residual spin-offs if you proclaim yourself pagan that are hard to obtain any other way. Similarly for being psychedelic. My notion of the psychedelic cosmogony, if you want to think of it that way, is it's like a bullseye. It's like a series of concentric circles, and various substances place you in various quadrants of that mandala at various distances from ground zero, which is at the absolute center. And nature in her bounty has provided various coordinates.
Go nuts and pressure and helps prevent escalation to sinus pain.
On Disney Auctions. Introducing Disney Auctions.
In communities around the country, there is...
Acknowledge that we know. We acknowledge the fact that we serve a God who is so. Acknowledge the fact that we serve a God who is so. Acknowledge the fact that we serve a God who is so. But there's a family that is in pain and crisis right now. There is a child that, oh God, in this congregation, that somebody who is listening and say it's going to be all right.
Because I think that,
in Bermuda,
you know, it's all very fine to go armed with the knowledge of pharmacology, dose response, LD50 and all that. But I think as pagans and magicians, we really understand.
Seventh-day Adventist churches are at the rate of over 3,000 a day. Of Pentecost here on this island as men and women.
It's become meaningless.
We're standing and we're committing ourselves to something that we know.
Just win your choice of a 100cc Honda motor.
And with half the population below the UN's Palestinian poverty line...
As well.
Mike Duncan in Gaza.
Long winter snap.
And literature.
Long winter snap.
Peculiar philosophy. Theory is to
The charge of Terry Venables for their first out of bedding plants and seedlings has burst into color with seasonal varieties of flowers, vegetables, and herbs.
There ain't a dream that don't have the
And then later Thomas went to the apostles, and they said, the master has been here. And he said, you guys have been smoking too much of that red lead. And then Christ came and Thomas said, my hand, I will not of it. It was not necessary that the believers should be vouchsafed such a boon, but the doubter was awarded the supreme, enlightenment. Okay, so much for that. So my thing has always been, whether you present me with a
Magistrates examining the case
has begun. You can achieve this sort of healing process. You can achieve this sort of healing process. You can achieve. You can achieve this. You can achieve this sort of healing process.
Dimension, and that is the and that is the and that is the and that compound that love, your slowly love, this shifting love, shining love, your last love, eroded by the sling.
You can achieve this sort of you. Kids, for your career. This is too important for you. Kids, for your career. You can achieve can. It's too important for you. It's too important for you. It's too important for you. Kids, for your career. The photo reading system is important for you. Kids, for your career. The photo reading system is important for you. Kids, for your career. The photo reading system is important for you. Kids, for your career. The photo reading system is important for you. Kids, for your career. The photo reading system is important for you. Kids, for your career. The photo reading system is important for you. Kids, for your career. The photo reading system is important for you. Kids, for your career. The photo reading system is important for you. Kids, for your career. The photo reading system is important for you. Kids, for your career.
Sometimes the little things last the longest. 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 Last the longest. Last the longest. Give extra. Get extra. Sometimes the little things last the longest. Give extra. Get extra. 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 extra. Sometimes the little things last the longest. Give extra. Get extra. Get extra. Get extra. Get extra. Give extra. Get extra. Give extra. Give
The
extra.
photo reading system thing is available daily from 8
in the morning until 6 in the evening.
We survive.
Get extra.
Asia 2025, and
Give
it
extra.
looks out and
Get extra.
tries to see what the international security landscape
Sometimes
in
the
Asia.
little things last the longest.
Tommy?
Get extra. Sometimes get extra. Sometimes the little things last the longest.
People that if they are involved in the law.
Get extra. Last the longest. 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 Give extra. Get things. Sometimes the little things. Sometimes extra things. Sometimes the little things. Give extra. Sometimes the little things. Sometimes the little things. Sometimes the little things. Give extra. 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 Sometimes the little things last the longest. Give extra. Get extra. Sometimes the little things. Give extra. Sometimes the little things last the longest. Sometimes the little things. Sometimes the little things. Sometimes the little. 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 Sometimes the little things last the longest. The little things last the longest. Give extra. Get extra. The little things last the longest. The little things last the longest. The little things. The little things. The little things. The little things. Sometimes the little things. The little things. The little things. Give extra. Get extra. Sometimes the get extra. Get extra. Sometimes the little